Think about it. How many times have you wondered if that person is really interested in you or if they are just keeping you around for convenience? Imagine how liberating it would be to recognize the signs of disinterest before investing more time and energy in a one-sided relationship. Today we are going to reveal the clearest signs that he is not really interested, even if he will never admit it. And be careful. The last sign we will address is the most powerful and transformative of all, capable of changing the way you see relationships forever. Before we dive into this important topic, take the opportunity to subscribe to the Red Pill Feminine channel, like it, and share this video with that friend who may need to hear these truths. Comment below if you have ever had doubts about someone's interest and how you dealt with it. The revelations we will make throughout this video can transform the way you understand the signs and dynamics of a relationship. Now let's get to the topic. In our analysis, we will deconstruct the behaviors that many consider normal, but which in fact are clear signs of disinterest. To do this, we will base ourselves on a critical view inspired by authors such as Rollo Tomassi, who in his book The Rational Man, Chapter 3, pages 45 to 50, talks about how men often keep relationships on hold to ensure their own emotional convenience. But instead of focusing only on the traditional view, we will go further. We will question these dynamics and bring to light a liberating perspective for those on the other side of this relationship. The first sign that he is not interested but does not admit it is the pattern of inconsistent communication. Have you ever noticed how some people disappear for days and then come back as if nothing had happened? Many times you end up justifying this behavior thinking, he must be busy, but the truth is that real interest does not allow room for vague excuses. As Hussey said in his book Real Love, Chapter 5, pages 30 to 35, when someone really likes you, communication flows naturally and constantly because this person makes a point of showing their presence. However, when he disappears, sends generic messages, or responds only out of obligation, he is making it clear that you are not a priority. But don't be fooled by small gestures. A man who is truly interested shows this not only through words, but also through consistent actions. As Esther Perel explains in Erotic Intelligence, Chapter 7, page 65, continuous effort is the true reflection of genuine desire. The lack of this effort is not just a lack of care, it is a clear sign of disinterest. Another very important sign that many women overlook is the lack of future plans. Does he always seem busy when you suggest dates or never include you in his long-term plans? This is no coincidence. As discussed by Argov in Why Men Love Powerful Women, Chapter 2, pages 18 to 22, when a man is genuinely interested, he makes time and includes you in his life. The lack of this type of commitment is an indication that he is just enjoying the present, with no intention of building something solid. So what? Have you ever identified these signs at some point in your life? If so, leave your experience in the comments. We want to know how you dealt with these situations. Next, we need to talk about emotional ambiguity. Have you ever had the feeling that he sends you contradictory signals? One day he seems to be in love, but the next, he barely responds to your messages. This behavior is not confusing by chance. According to Greene in the 48 Laws of Power, Chapter 9, pages 85 to 90, ambiguity is a strategy that many use to keep someone interested without giving anything in return. This creates a toxic dynamic of hope, where you are stuck waiting for the moment when he will finally show real interest. Last but not least, we need to understand that recognizing these signs is an act of liberation. You do not deserve to be in a relationship where you are constantly questioning your place in someone's life. As Meg J. warns in A Defining Decade, Chapter 6, page 54, time is one of the most precious resources you have. If he's not showing any interest, the best thing you can do for yourself is to invest your energy in something or someone who truly values your presence. If you've watched this far, tell us in the comments which of these signs has appeared in your life and how you dealt with it. Your experience may inspire others who are going through the same situation. Of course, here's the continuation with more depth and development of the topic. Now that we've explored some of the clearest signs that he's not really interested, let's delve deeper into how these behaviors affect not only the relationship dynamics, but also his self-esteem and perception of self-worth. After all, ignoring these signs can lead to patterns of self-sabotage and the perpetuation of exhausting and hopeless relationships. One of the most subtle but devastating signs is when he avoids deep or meaningful discussions about the relationship. If you've tried to bring up topics like exclusivity, joint plans, or even something as simple as his feelings and his response is always evasive or uncomfortable, this isn't just a lack of emotional maturity. It's a sign that he doesn't want to commit. In Amir Levine's book, Attached, Chapter 4, page 123, the author explains that people who are not emotionally involved tend to avoid any conversation that requires introspection because they simply do not see themselves as part of a future with you. This behavior can be mistaken for shyness or introversion, but it is important to understand the difference. Someone who is genuinely interested will, over time, make room for vulnerability because they want to create a genuine connection. If this is not happening, you need to question what is really at stake. Another common sign, and perhaps one of the most frustrating, is the feeling that you are carrying the relationship alone. Are you the one initiating conversations, suggesting dates, planning moments together? This is a warning sign of disguised disinterest. As Rollo Tomassi explains in The Rational Man, Chapter 5, page 89, the effort someone puts into a relationship is directly proportional to how much they value that relationship. When the effort comes only from one side, it's a clear indication that the other person isn't as involved as they should be. Now let's talk about a sign that often goes unnoticed because it can be masked by seemingly positive attitudes, the tendency to be affectionate or attentive only when it benefits him. For example, he may be super nice and present when he's looking for something, be it attention, validation, or even something physical. However, as soon as he gets what he wants, his behavior changes dramatically. Esther Perel, in her work, The State of Affairs, Chapter 8, page 142, calls this strategic intimacy, a type of emotional manipulation where the other person offers just enough to keep you around without ever really committing. How many times have you asked yourself, is it me? Am I being too demanding? This doubt is common, but it's crucial that you don't fall into the trap of blaming yourself for signs that are beyond your control. The truth is that healthy relationships are built on reciprocity, mutual effort, and above all, honesty. If he's not showing these elements, it's not your fault. As Brené Brown says in The Courage to be Imperfect, Chapter 6, page 89, embracing your vulnerability and setting clear boundaries is an act of self-love, not a weakness. Another important point to discuss is the presence of constant excuses. If he's constantly justifying inappropriate behavior or lack of effort with phrases like, I'm too busy, it's not a good time for me right now, or I need space, this isn't a problem of scheduling, but of priorities. As Sherry Argov emphasizes in Why Men Love Powerful Women, Chapter 7, page 125, when a man really wants to be with you, he finds ways, not excuses. This is one of the hardest lessons, but also one of the most liberating. Understanding that recurring excuses are just polite ways of saying that you are not at the top of his priorities. It is important to remember that many times these signs come with small doses of hope. An occasional compliment, an unexpected message, or even a more affectionate attitude can make you believe that things are changing. But it is crucial to observe the general pattern and not get carried away by isolated moments. Robert Greene, in The 48 Laws of Power, Chapter 27, page 190, talks about how attention spans can be used as a tool to keep someone emotionally trapped, even without a real commitment. If you have watched this far, tell us in the comments, which of these signs caught your attention the most? Have you ever experienced something similar? Your story may be the inspiration someone else needs to see their situation more clearly. And don't forget that recognizing these signs isn't just about identifying his disinterest. It's also about reconnecting with your own self-worth. You deserve to be in a relationship where his interest is yours. Sure. Let's continue the analysis in English, keeping the same tone and focus. Another critical sign that he is not truly interested is his lack of consistency. One moment, he seems incredibly attentive, sending messages and showing affection. But then, suddenly, he pulls away, leaving you confused and questioning his intentions. This inconsistency isn't accidental. As Matthew Hussey explains in Get the Guy, Chapter 6, page 78, genuine interest is shown through steady, reliable actions, not sporadic bursts of attention. When a man is serious about you, he doesn't keep you guessing. Instead, he consistently shows up for you, both emotionally and physically. In contrast, if his behavior fluctuates between extreme interest and complete detachment, it's a sign that he may be keeping you as an option rather than a priority. This pattern can be emotionally exhausting, making you constantly seek validation and reassurance, which often plays into a cycle of manipulation. Let's dive deeper into this pattern of manipulation. One strategy that many uninterested men use is creating false hope through words rather than actions. For example, he may say things like, "I really like you, but I'm just not ready for a relationship right now." On the surface, this might sound like honesty, but in reality, it's a way of keeping you in his orbit without offering a real commitment. As Argov highlights in Why Men Love Bitches, Chapter 4, page 93, actions always speak louder than words. A man who truly wants to be with you will not only express it verbally, but will back it up with consistent behavior. Another subtle but powerful indicator of disinterest is his unwillingness to include you in his personal life. Has he introduced you to his friends or family? Does he talk about his passions, dreams, or long-term goals with you? If the answer is no, this could be a clear sign that he's not envisioning you as part of his future. According to Esther Perel in Mating in Captivity, Chapter 5, page 112, when someone genuinely values a relationship, they naturally begin to intertwine their world with yours, sharing their life openly and inviting you into it. But when a man keeps his life compartmentalized, it's often because he's not emotionally invested enough to allow you access to his inner world. This can feel isolating, leaving you to wonder where you truly stand in his life. Let's take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt excluded from someone's life despite being emotionally invested? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience may resonate with others and inspire them to take a closer look at their own situations. Now let's address another significant red flag: when he minimizes your concerns or emotions. If you've ever tried to express how you feel or address an issue in the relationship, only to have your feelings dismissed with phrases like, "You're overthinking," or "It's not a big deal," this is a form of emotional invalidation. Brené Brown, in Daring Greatly, Chapter 7, page 210, emphasizes that a healthy relationship is built on empathy and mutual respect. When someone cares about you, they don't downplay your emotions. They seek to understand and address them. However, when he dismisses your concerns, it's often because he doesn't value the relationship enough to engage in meaningful communication. This can leave you feeling unheard and undervalued, further highlighting the imbalance in the dynamic. One of the most painful truths about disinterest is that it often reveals itself through a lack of effort. Whether it's not making time to see you, failing to remember important details about your life, or simply not prioritizing you, this lack of effort speaks volumes. As Rollo Tomassi explains in The Rational Male, Chapter 8, page 147, genuine interest drives a person to make an effort without excuses. If you constantly feel like you're the one doing all the work to keep the connection alive, it's time to reevaluate whether his level of interest matches your own. Finally, let's talk about the importance of listening to your intuition. Deep down, you often know when someone's actions don't align with their words. You may try to justify their behavior or convince yourself that things will change, but your gut instinct is rarely wrong. Meg J., in The Defining Decade, Chapter 9, page 188, stresses that trusting your intuition is one of the most empowering steps you can take in any relationship. If something feels off, don't ignore it. If you've recognized any of these signs in your own experiences, take a moment to reflect on what you truly deserve. Relationships should be built on mutual respect, effort, and emotional connection. Anything less is a disservice to your worth. Have any of these points resonated with you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective can help others recognize similar patterns and take the necessary steps to prioritize their own well-being. Absolutely, let's continue to dive deeper into this important topic and bring everything together. At this point, we've examined several unmistakable signs of disinterest, but there's one more that deserves special attention. He avoids accountability for his actions. If you've ever tried to address an issue or call out a behavior that hurt you, only to have him shift the blame or turn the conversation into an argument about your expectations, this is a classic sign of emotional immaturity and lack of genuine investment. When someone cares about the relationship, they take responsibility for their actions. They don't try to deflect, manipulate, or make you feel guilty for bringing up valid concerns. In his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy Robert Glover, Chapter 3, page 56, explains that avoiding accountability is a tactic often used by emotionally unavailable people to maintain control and avoid vulnerability. If this pattern feels familiar, it's a clear sign that he's not willing to do the work required to nurture a healthy relationship. Another powerful signal that he's not fully invested is his lack of excitement about the future with you. Ask yourself, does he talk about future plans that include you? Does he show interest in building something meaningful together? Or does he keep things vague and ambiguous, saying things like, let's see where this goes? While this might sound reasonable at first, a prolonged lack of clarity usually indicates that he's keeping his options open. As Matthew Hussey points out in Get the Guy, Chapter 8, page 102, when a man is serious about a relationship, he doesn't hesitate to include you in his long-term vision. This unwillingness to commit often comes with a subtle but harmful dynamic. You find yourself lowering your standards to accommodate his behavior. Maybe you've started to accept last-minute plans because at least he made time for you. Or perhaps you've stopped voicing your needs out of fear that he'll pull away. These compromises might feel small at first, but over time, they erode your sense of self-worth and leave you feeling unfulfilled. In Esther Perel's work, The State of Affairs, Chapter 11, page 154, she explores how people often tolerate less than ideal relationships out of fear of losing what little they have. But here's the truth. Settling for crumbs of affection only keeps you from finding someone who's willing to offer the whole cake. If you're still unsure about where you stand, consider this final question. Does this relationship bring out the best in you? A healthy relationship should make you feel supported, valued, and empowered to grow into the best version of yourself. On the other hand, if you feel drained, anxious, or constantly questioning your worth, it's time to take a step back and evaluate whether this connection is truly serving you. One of the most profound lessons to take away from all of this is that you can't change someone who doesn't want to change. You can't make someone care, commit, or invest if they're not willing to do so on their own. This isn't a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their capacity or lack thereof to show up in a meaningful way. As Brené Brown explains in The Gifts of Imperfection, Chapter 6, page 143, the key to building fulfilling relationships starts with loving yourself enough to walk away from those that don't honor your worth. By setting boundaries and prioritizing your emotional health, you open the door to connections that are grounded in mutual respect and genuine interest. So, what's the takeaway here? If his actions consistently show a lack of effort, accountability, or emotional investment, believe them. Don't get caught up in the potential of who he could be. Focus on who he is right now. As hard as it may be to let go, staying in a one-sided relationship only prolongs your pain and prevents you from finding the love you deserve. If you've recognized yourself in any of these scenarios, now is the time to reflect and take action. What steps can you take to prioritize your emotional well-being and reclaim your sense of self-worth? Let us know in the comments. Your journey might inspire someone else to take that crucial first step toward change. Remember, you are worthy of a love that feels secure, fulfilling, and reciprocal. Don't settle for anything less. If this content has resonated with you, make sure to subscribe to Red Pill Feminina, leave a like, and share this video with someone who might need to hear this message. Your support helps us reach more people and continue bringing empowering discussions like this to light. And before you go, check out these 2 videos we've linked on the screen. One explores the psychology behind emotional availability, and the other dives deeper into setting boundaries and recognizing your worth. They're the perfect follow-ups to this conversation and could provide even more clarity on your journey to self-discovery. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.